All right, we're on.
We live right now.
Yes, we're live right now.
Well, how everybody doing? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, my
Right
bad,
now,
y'all.
nobody. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
My bad, y'all. How everybody doing, man? We back with another episode for y'all, man. Some street truths, missing persons, Sandbox and cell blocks. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Los.
And
Katrina.
Katrina.
Yeah, yeah. Come on, man. And we're gonna talk to y'all today, man, about police encounters and some experiences and so on and so forth, right? How to deal with yourself in them situations. But before we get started, I need to read this disclaimer to keep the powers that be and my co-host off my butt. So give me a few seconds. Here we go. This podcast is a platform for conversation, education, and community dialogue. The views expressed by hosts, us, and our guests, y'all, and the people that we have on here are their own and do not represent any organization, group, or institution. We do not promote violence, illegal activity, or harm of any kind. Our discussions may include difficult or controversial topics, but our goal is understanding, accountability, and change. We ask our audience, y'all, to engage respectfully with us. Allegations, accusations, and naming the suspects without verified information will not be allowed. This space exists to amplify voices, honor those impacted, and work toward unity and solutions in our communities.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah, but with that said, man, it's been a long week, and there's been a lot going on in the news, at least around the area. You know what I'm saying? I'm from anyway. The little Chicago metro area. Um,
What's
a lot
going
of,
on?
huh?
What's going on?
A lot of police activity. You know what I'm saying? Police shootings. Just yeah. So this is kind of in line with why we want to talk about what we talk about, man, and we want to deal with how people should go about conducting themselves in the presence of the police, right? Because as a minority, police encounters become sometimes your last. Even when you all the way in the right, and you the one who called the police, right?
Yeah.
They can become your last encounter, man. So we just want to make sure that we get y'all the right information, so y'all can know how to conduct yourselves, and so y'all can know y'all do's and don'ts, and what y'all can and cannot do. You know what I'm saying, when y'all encounter the police, because it get real fast. So first thing I would like to say is I've had too many encounters with the police. And y'all might think because I'm always in some naught or some mischief. That's not the case. When I was a youngster, my first bad encounter was I remember being like 8 or 9 years old. This had to be like 89, 90. And it was about me and four other youngsters were standing on the corner. Our hats broke all off. We represent something we not a part of at the time, claiming to be something we not. But it's just some neighborhood stuff. You see the older people doing it, so you mimic it. But we wasn't doing anything wrong. It's about four of us on the corner, and we had a crew in Gary, a crew of police in Gary. They used to ride around in unmarked vans, Crown Vics and stuff, and they would hop out on you. So we called them the jump out boys. So the jump out boys, they jumped out on us, me and like four of my little guys, and manhandled us, smashed us, put our face into the ground. And we like, damn, what we doing? What we do? And they didn't really they weren't trying to hear nothing we were saying, but once they got through manhandling us, they was telling us, basically, now y'all know who we are, right? Mm-hmm. That left a nasty taste in my mouth, and that was my first impression, first encounter with the police in like a negative way, and it always stuck with me. And since then, as I got older, man, I went to prison as a teenager, so I wasn't out there, having adult encounters with them. But it's just like I've seen, over the decades, like what they do. And then I see the correctional officers, which are like the police in penal institutions, kind of have the same mentality. So it begs to question, like, is it the training, right? Is it the training that's lacking, or is it the individual that's just not getting the training or don't give a damn about the training that they may be receiving, right? So you question it all. Like, are they trained to have the stereotypical mindset that certain people deserve certain treatment?
Yeah.
Or is it that because they are basically a gang, you know, the police or the fraternal order or whatever they are, they look at themselves like we can do what we want because it, what Denzel say, I'm the police. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
Right.
That's how they be coming across. So I'd have had stuff planted on me in prison. I'd have been falsely convicted of bullshit in prison that I didn't do. But and I know guys who are in prison for things that they didn't do, and the police didn't try to find the right person because they felt like any person will do. But those are those like down the line different topics. But if you are like ever pulled over by the police, there's certain rights that you do have, right? Say you pulled over in a traffic stop or you walking, and police, you know, pull up on you talking about where you going. This is if you on foot. You don't have to answer that, right? You do not have to answer that. If they ask you for ID, you probably should give them that. You can ask them why they want it, because you don't have to, like, if you have no probable cause for requesting these things, then I don't have to give them to you. But if they give you probable cause, basically telling you that, yeah, you know, it was a shooting around the way, a woman got mugged over here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, man, just to go on and get them off your ass to keep something unnecessary from happening. Yeah, get them your identification, man, and go and let them go about your, you know what I'm saying, go about their business. But if you in the car, best thing you could do, bro, or sister, is put your hands on that steering wheel and be calm when you're dealing with them people, and provide them with them 3 necessities: license, insurance, registration. From there, man, they like, you ain't got to consent to nothing, even if they ask you calmly or nicely, no. Even if you ain't got nothing, and you feel like it'll speed up the process, you do not have to consent to anything like that, right? What you thinking, Katrina? I see you nod your head.
Because I'm with you. So far, we good.
All right. You know
I say so far we good. I'm feeling the same way. And I would like to interject though, when Carlos or Los was saying that we need to talk about this, I was like, why? I mean, we as Black people should know this already. However, you made a good point. We still need to keep going over it. Like, if we got to hone it in on everybody, because some parents don't understand. We got a society with mixed kids, and I'm not saying that to be mean, derogatory, or anything like that, but some people don't know how to teach their kids the way to stay out of trouble or get killed by the police, or, you know.
Yeah, look, we ain't sugarcoating nothing, man. We trying to save our little brothers and sisters, man. When they come out these doors, when they leave the house, like, a police encounter is a high probability. I'm not saying like 90% or nothing like that, but we have a higher probability with a police encounter, and a higher probability that if we do have that encounter, that something negative will happen, as opposed to, say, a European kid, a white kid, or Asian kid, right? You know, blacks and Latinos have a higher encounter or incidents with police, and a higher probability of coming away with an injury or death. So we trying to save our people. This ain't got nothing to do with, you know what I'm saying, offending nobody. If you take it that way, it wasn't meant to be taken that way, you know, but we can't tell you how to feel. But it wasn't our intent. You know what I'm saying? But when you go out that door, man, and police pulling up on you, asking you questions, where you going, you don't have to answer that. Like, you got the right to go where you want to go, bro. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to be talking about, have you been drinking? I ain't got to answer that either. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I've been drinking, I'm minding my business. If I'm underage or something, then you might want to talk to my parent or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got to answer your questions just because it's you, the police.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the police will come across like, well, I am the police and you have to do what I say. No, the hell I don't. Right? You got rights as a police. I got rights as a citizen. And I don't have to answer your question just because you want to ask them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here doing nothing wrong, and I don't want to provide you with that information. If you If you stop me and ask me to search me, I do not have to consent to that just because you are the police. I do not. Again, if there was a crime in the area and they can justify certain probable cause by saying, this happened and they described it as a black male in a black hoodie, and you walk around here in a black hoodie, I mean, that's kind of general, but that's an encounter that can get out of hand if you refuse. So if you know that you ain't on nothing, best thing you could do, bro. Yeah, you could question them, but don't take it too far, man, because your life matter more than making a stand when you know that you ain't got nothing to hide. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Point blank, period. Save your life. Save your life. And then you can challenge it another time. You can go downtown after that encounter and make a complaint or a report. But the goal is to save your life in this particular moment you encountering the police.
And make
it
home.
What I'm saying? Because they out here shooting the shit out of us. You know what I'm saying? They out here whooping us. Like they out here, not all of them, but they out here planting shit. They out here putting people in jail unjustly, right? So save yourself, man, and inform yourself with the proper knowledge, so that when you do encounter them, you're not out here heightening the possibility of losing your life or becoming injured in the process.
Yeah, make it home. That's the important part. Make it home.
Yeah, they so it's certain things that they can do. Like if it looks like you have a weapon, even though you told them you don't, for their safety,
yeah,
they can pat you down, right? Consent. If you just want, like I was one of them youngsters, I'm trying to buck everything. I don't want to do nothing y'all saying. You know what I'm saying? I ain't letting you pat me down. Hell, I was taking off on them and I ain't even had nothing. I'm just dark. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna see how fast y'all are. And I ain't advising you to run. I'm just saying this is Los when he was younger. I just didn't want to have nothing to do with him. So they be pulling up on us, and I'll be out here with nothing in my pocket, nothing but house keys and a little money. And they'll pull up, hop out. I'm striking out. You know what I'm saying? Fuck you. Like I'm gone. I wouldn't advise that, but that's what Los did. You know, so save yourself. You got police now that if you run, they might shoot you in the back and then say you flashed something because you had a phone in your hand.
Or shoot in your face.
Right.
Shoot.
So the goal, man, at the end of the day, is to just make it home safely. Teach your children how to deal with the police, man. Even though you might have young children, start teaching them early about police encounters, man. Like I say, because people with this complexion tend to get blamed for things, tend to get different treatment, especially with the police. So we just want to arm our people with the right information, man, so that when they go out here, they can be safe, they can survive. It's all about survival in the community, bro. It's a lot going on. Our communities aren't like the other communities. You know what I'm saying? Black and brown communities tend to have higher poverty levels, higher incidents of violence, you know what I'm saying, higher drug and gang activity, and all this comes from, you know what I'm saying, lack of employment, the poverty, and even when you are employed, you're not making a lot. The majority of us, not all of us. So that leads to these other things taking place, which leads to the police encounters, which leads to the stuff we're talking about. So we're just trying to make sure that we safe, bro. But yeah, you got to know your rights. You got a Fourth Amendment right to unreasonable search and seizure. You know what I'm saying? They can't do certain shit without a warrant. You know what I'm saying? And how they go about justifying that warrant. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's shady, but they'll get enough. They'll get enough in order to get a judge to sign off on certain things in order to get in there at the time, only to be later challenged on an appeal, and it be determined that it was not, you know what I'm saying, a valid. It wasn't the right way to go about getting a warrant. You got a right to not be cruelly and unusually punished. That can mean a lot of things, right? That means getting your ass whooped for being mouthy. They don't have a right to do that. You know what I'm saying? You can sit here and cuss at them and they shouldn't kick your ass like that. It don't mean you won't get arrested. but they shouldn't be kicking your ass the way they be kicking our asses. You know what I'm saying? But you just gotta know this, man. You gotta know you putting yourself in a situation when you do this, because the training may be there, but they still human,
right?
And they got emotions too. So they might take the shit that you saying to them a certain way, and that emotion might be too much for their training to suppress.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, you're getting your ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Down there in Memphis, this was a few years ago, I believe. The four black officers pulled their brother over, and they ended up beating that man. I got to get his name, man. It was at nighttime. That was all on video. They beat that man bad. Huh?
I haven't heard of that.
This was some years ago, man. In Memphis, pulled him over. And these black officers though pulled him over, beat the hell out the brother, like beat him bad, and it was on video. And I believe they got convicted. I'm gonna have to, this off the top of my head, so I didn't plan for that to come out, so I didn't look it up.
Was it a black dude that they beat up or a white dude?
Yeah, a black dude, a brother.
Wow,
little bitty dude though. He couldn't have been no more than $140. He was slight. These were some big ass officers.
Did they say anything like he was mouthy? He did anything, or nobody really knows?
It wasn't no resistance from that video, and it was 401, and he was unarmed. So I don't understand how it was justified. But I believe there was some convictions behind that.
Good.
But it don't negate the trauma that he endured.
Agreed.
And they beat the hell out that man. I don't know if he passed or not, because it was a while ago, but this was maybe 2-3 years ago.
Right? Let's talk about. I put Trina's comment on the.
As a white woman, it breaks my heart to know that these conversations have to be had to begin with. Yeah, Trina. These are conversations that definitely have to be had in our houses and in our communities, because cat out the bag, our treatment is different than y'all's. White people.
However, some people are guilty by association. You could be, again, no harm, no foul. You could be a white boy with 10 black dudes, and you in the car, and they're gonna treat you just like they treated those black people.
Yeah. You know what I'm
saying? And that's what I wanted to say to her. Her comment. It's not just because you're a white woman. If you have a white son, and his preferences as far as relationships, personal relationships, whether it be friends, girlfriends, or whatever, you need to listen to this, and you need to teach your kids the exact same thing. And I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Nah, you fine, man. Hey, we on here having a conversation.
Gotta give respect. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Trina. Thank you for that comment.
Yeah, so you got the white guys that what we see in the hood. You got the white guys in the hood. They got the old saying, the wiggers. But these just basically, white dudes that got kind of a black swag to them, so to speak, right? They definitely treating y'all. But even still, they don't know that these white dudes have this kind of swag or demeanor just by looking at them, for the most part, because their skin still suggests that they just, white males. So the way that these white males are treated won't necessarily be the way a Los or a darker complected brother from our community gonna be treated. And I ain't saying that all people with hue in their skin is gonna be treated this way, but we just preparing you so that you don't have to unnecessarily put yourself in harm's way by going out here thinking you can do whatever you want to do when you encountering the police, because you cannot. You can't just be saying certain things. You can't just be consenting to everything. You can't just be around here feeling like, well, I hate the police, so I'm gonna do what I want to do. No, we want to go about this intelligently. We want to go about this calmly, and we want to be informed so that when we behave, we move in the right way. We not giving them justification to do no harm to us. Point blank, period. Any encounter I have with the police, it's about being able to reflect on the encounter. I don't want this encounter to be my last one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying be afraid of these people. You know what I'm saying? We ain't afraid of when you inform yourself properly, you don't need to be afraid. You know what I'm saying? Because you arm with knowledge. Mm-hmm. And with that knowledge, you know how to move better.
Yeah.
So moving better should get you a better outcome than not. And that's what we're looking for, a better outcome. Yeah. You got a comment on here about a sister Fatima. I came in on the right part, guilty by association. Let's talk about it. Guilty by association. Mm-hmm. Guilty by association. Let's talk about what that means first off, right? So if I am a square, so to speak, meaning I do nothing illegal, I'm not out here hanging out on corners, I don't participate in the street culture, street life. But I'm cool with these guys because I've been knowing them my whole life. But these guys I'm cool with, they are known to be in this particular lane. They might be the hustlers, the dudes that then dealt drugs or deal drugs. They might have been in jail. They might then gangbang. They might have had police encounters, so the police know them, right? So they're associated with a certain lifestyle, a certain kind of behavior. And then here I am, unknown to the police. But because I'm seen with these guys, well, shit, birds of a feather, right? Mm-hmm. So they're looking at it, well, yeah, you got to be like them. Mm-hmm. So now when the police encounters me by myself, but they recall me from being with them guys, they might treat me differently than they would if they had never saw me with them guys, mm-hmm. right? That's the association. You know what I'm saying? So now and I might not even know where it's coming from because they might not tell you that this is why they are the way they are with you. They just might know that Joe Blow and them, they carry guns. Mm-hmm. They've been to prison for shootings. They've been caught with guns. They ran. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So now they're associating you with this. So when they come at you, they might be extra aggressive. Yeah. Guns drawn. Because the guys you are hanging with are known to carry pipes, carry guns, right? Known to shoot. So, I mean, I can understand the mindset when the cop encounters a known shooter, right? I don't know how they're trained, but I'm assuming the training prepares them for that.
Yeah.
So but I know they want to get home at the end of the day too. But they should be using that training to make sure we all get home, them and us, right? You can't be just assuming that because Katrina was with Los and Los was in prison for murder, that Katrina's a murderer, right? Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be assumption. You should encounter the police and then hope to God that the police have the training and the awareness enough to use that training to judge Katrina for the way Katrina behaves in this moment, right? But that's not what we've been getting. But that's what we're looking at.
I think it'll be good to actually have a police officer on here and talk about their training. I mean, not now, because that's something we'll have to,
I think it would too.
I would love that. So let me write that down on my notes, and we will get that started.
Yeah. That's something we can have on here about the training, mm-hmm. and a few other questions I can think of that I think our listening and viewing audience would love to hear. Right?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you fine. But yeah, that's the law of association.
Yeah.
Right. Birds of a feather. If you hang it with certain ones who behave a certain way, it's automatically assumed that you behave in the same behaviors. Right. You're doing the same thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had it blown up, but
you
got a lot of
knowledge yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you have to be aware of your surroundings, not just environmental, right?
Right.
Socially. So, from a street perspective, if you are hanging with people who have harmed a lot of other people, right, then you are putting yourself in harm's way with the people they have harmed. Because again, catch you with him, catch you with her, and he or she has harmed my people, if there's the mindset that person is carrying, then you become fair game just like them. Same thing with the police, man. If they catch you around a bunch of drug dealers, they're going to assume you a goddamn drug dealer.
Yep.
Don't make it right. It's just the law of association, right? If you hanging around from a street perspective, if you hanging around a bunch of dudes that been snitched, then the other dudes in the street gonna assume you okay with that, and that you the same kind of dude, that you a snitch too, right? Law of association. Like you can't be this dude of principle hanging with unprincipled people, right? That's a conflict.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This is what we call cognitive dissonance. When you have, right, cognitive dissonance is,
that's what I was about to say.
When your thoughts, you think and believe a certain way, yet your actions contradict the very things you proclaim to believe, right? Oh, I can't stand when people hit women, right? I hate that shit. And then you around here in the house beating up on your girlfriend, right? Like you proclaiming to be and believe a certain way, and yet your actions are the exact opposite. You have a conflict between your doings and your beliefs. That's what that is. And we got a lot of that in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of that. So you know, this is the time we sit back and we reflect on who we are. And you do that, man, by trying to find out like what your purpose is, right? And what are your immediate short-term goals? My immediate short-term goal, specifically when encountering the police, is coming away from this motherfucker alive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And that should be for everybody. That's
away alive. Point blank, period. Yeah. Right. And if that's what you're trying to do, then you're gonna move according to what that short-term goal is. Excuse me. If that's the short-term goal, that's what you got to be on. You know what I'm saying? And you do it in a way that it doesn't conflict with your principles. You know what I'm saying? So if you do have a police encounter, right, and you do have something on you, again, the goal is to get away alive. But if you also have principles that you believe in, you know, the not telling, the not compromising, or not getting nobody else in trouble that's in the car with me because I could put it on. No. You know what I'm saying? Instead of getting everybody locked up, one person could eat this and save everybody. Like, these are decisions you have to make in the brink of that moment, right? And you have to do all these things without having compromising your beliefs and principles. You want to survive the encounter, and you want to make sure that your principles intact, that you don't violate this. But if you truly believe these things, this ain't hard to do, because you know who you are, you know what you believe in, and regardless of what it's going to cost you, this is how you're going to demonstrate. You know what I'm saying? This is how men of principle move, women of principle move, right? But you have to be thinking about these things ahead of time, right? If I'm riding around with that pistol, right, and I get pulled over and I got my guy, you know what I'm saying, John in the car with me, and I know this can get both of us locked up and this can do this for John, I can't let John get in trouble for my actions, even though I know I didn't want to get caught with this pipe, this gun. I shouldn't have been riding with it if I couldn't handle the consequences of it. You see what I'm saying? They got me now. Hey, yeah, you know, they find a gun. Yeah, that's me. That's how I'm coming, to keep my mans out of trouble, because I know this ain't got nothing to do with him, right?
That's noble. That's really noble.
In action, that's right. You know what I'm saying? And again, coming away from this alive. Yeah. Anything else, man, you just out here moving without rhyme or reason. And if you out here like that, then shit, you subject to encounter all type of negative behavior in the streets and by the police. What the sister say?
These days you have to even be careful when you get in the car with who you get in the car with. Just because you may not have no issue with nobody, the people you may be around may have an issue and you get caught up in the mix. That's what you were talking about. I see that so common here in Indy. Absolutely. Like this episode right here is like the most comments that we've had, and I did not expect this. So, ups to you for bringing this into perspective. Um, Clearly says true training is a must. Will better training? Not sure you're talking.
Better training, right?
Yeah.
Training is a must. Better training. They saying better
Oh
training.
well. Okay.
So we really have to get a handle on what their training actually is, particularly with dealing with minorities. Are they trained to treat certain communities different than others? Right? Again, Trina, even with the training, how do we keep officers from just
Right. On point.
when the training and the individual personality conflict, then the individual who has the training is going to always override it. Because he or she is not a program. You see what I'm saying? You're not a robot. So you're not going to move to the program. You're going to move to the way your foundation has set you up to believe. Your years of experience have taught you to believe certain things about certain people, right? Mm-hmm. So you move based off those years of experience. You can't change that with 4 to 6 weeks of training. You can't change 30 years of believing certain things in 4 to 6 weeks. I don't believe that. True. So if you will get through the training just to get the career, just to get the job. So you'll say all the right things as a blooming officer, right? In order to be certified. Yeah, we're going out here to do good in the community, and we're gonna. And as soon as you get in that car, you see 3 black dudes in a Chevy with loud music, and you swooping on them, and you got them face down in the street, right? And they ain't got nothing on them, but you still got them like this. But you ain't pulling over that white person with the loud music in that big ass pickup truck and putting his face in the street. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, it's a difference. And the training is one thing.
Absolutely.
And the personality of the person being trained is another.
So how do we, like she said, how do we keep those officers? And I know we can't, but what pressures can we put on them to stop the racial profiling?
So again, when you encounter them and you have those negative encounters, you know what I'm saying? You got to go up there to the police station and file them reports on their ass, right? You got like only way they can know that these their officers and these cops out here are bogus is if they are made aware of it. You got to make them aware of it. Otherwise, they just get away with a whole bunch of mischief.
That makes sense.
And it's emboldening them because they feel like we do have this no snitch code, right? Mm-hmm. So they feel like these people are going to use this and keep it to themselves, and a lot of us do, right? Mm-hmm. But these officers, they run in your pockets where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? Like they and in certain other cities too. I got guys in these bigger cities, Chicago and Nap and Detroit. Police hitting your pockets.
What do you mean by that?
They run in your pockets, meaning when they pull you over certain areas, certain guys, they taking the money out your pockets and it's theirs.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Now what you gonna do about it? Because most of us, this is just a fact, are too lazy or don't care enough to go up here and file a police report on it because we may have to deal with the blowback of it. Meaning you like this officer can find out who filed this report on it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't believe you can make an anonymous report because otherwise it could be like you could just start making shit up on the officer. Yeah. The same way officers have made shit up on us.
So right? Do you really feel like that's coming from like law abiding citizens? Because I mean you got to be stupid to pull somebody over and they got drugs. Say they got some weed, put in different bags for distributing, and then they get all this money. The police get the money, I mean. That makes more sense than getting a person that's law-abiding and take their money because they run the risk of being
exposed.
Yeah. So you really think it happens to like law-abiding citizens?
Well, think about this. Even if it's not, what does that make the police?
It's still bad in every essence.
They're worse than the people that they out here supposed to. I'm just saying. Absolutely. So even if it's not, your training, again, it's about training and the personality of the officer trained. If you out here feeling like you can just do what you want to do because of certain people don't necessarily abide by all the laws of society, he's reflecting the same behavior.
Agreed.
Living outside the laws of society. You see what I'm saying? So, and these are the people who've been entrusted with protecting and serving the communities that they patrol. Right? But that's not what you're doing. You're not saving anything in the community by running anybody pockets. You enriching yourself. And that's self-serving to your greed. You see what I'm saying? So what they say, we have to truly get involved. Fuck a phone call. They can direct the phone call, but to show up in person, they have no choice. Yeah. Show up at that police station. Yeah. And take some of your people with you and file that complaint. And let them know, man, these people bogus. This is what they did. They pulled me over. Why. Whatever the circumstances is that you are unsatisfied with. It ain't always got to be a shooting or a beating. If they were unprofessional, if they talk to you a certain way that you feel like they shouldn't have talked to you, make it known. You know what I'm saying? Make it known. That way they don't get complacent in the way they've been behaving and continue it. You know what I'm saying? We don't want them becoming emboldened by our non-complaints, right? Because that's what it does. It's like the person out here in the streets. If you've been out here doing certain activity for so long without getting caught, it makes you that much more confident in the way you've been moving. You see what I'm saying? You feel like you're moving the right way. You feel like I can get away with doing whatever the fuck I've been doing because I've been doing it. That's the same thing with these police. If they've been moving a certain way and they've been getting away with doing certain things to us in the community, they're going to feel like they can continue to keep doing it.
They corrupt anyways, all the way up to the captain. So what? I mean, and that's just my opinion. I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you and it sounds good and all that, but man, they getting the money to share with their upper hands.
Okay, so even that, like even that, like these the people that's supposed to be protecting us, but really they containing us in certain areas.
Yep.
Right, and then they are serving themselves.
Yeah.
They protecting certain communities, and then other communities they contain. And then they serve those communities and themselves while exploiting and oppressing the other communities we from. This is what we dealing with, right? That protect and serve shit on the side of the car. That shit is for status quo. They protecting and serving the status quo, right? And this being a capitalist economy, that's the status quo they protecting. So in these low tax bracket areas, right, where you making minimum wage or whatever I think it's like $50,000 a year that the average salary in America, might be more than that, but that's not that where I'm from. Average person definitely ain't making no 70, because I've seen that on there as well, like 70 grand a year or something. Definitely ain't making no 70 grand a year on average where I'm from.
Really?
Yeah, look it up. It's like the GNP or something. The average salary in the U.S. is so many tens of thousands. I believe it's like 73, but I also had someone here that said 56, but that might have been old. And I know where I'm from. Hell no, that is definitely not the average. No, you're not making 73 grand in Gary a year. That's not the average salary. So these are the communities like Gary, where I'm from, like a South and the West Side, Chicago, like the hoods in South Bend, Indianapolis, you know what I'm saying, out on Post, out in Hallville, the east, like the east and the west sides of these towns. These are the areas that the police patrol in a different manner that they're going to patrol the suburban areas, right? And they're going to treat the people a little differently than they treat them people in them suburban areas. Hell, if they encounter the people in the suburban areas at all. There's police encounters in the communities we from. I don't know what kind of encounters they got out there in them other areas. But it ain't the same, because I don't be seeing police shootings. You know what I'm saying? Police beatings in Crown Point. that's in Lake County where I'm from. I don't be seeing that. I don't be seeing them in Schaumburg and Illinois either.
Are those affluent?
Yeah, very. That's like Naperville, Schaumburg. That's like outside Chicago, right? That's their suburbs. But when you go to that west side, when you go to that south side, oh yeah, it's high encounters. You know what I'm saying? A lot of police shootings, right? So it's just a different mindset when they come to our communities. And with that mindset, you definitely finna have a different encounter and a different kind of experience. One way we can stop it, but I agree. A lot of people talk about change, but we first have to change the people we once hung with. If they are still in the same state, you left them in, because you keep repeating those old habits. Again, well, that's so that's Jay Streets. That's one of the brothers, right? Uh yeah, so you can't change everybody, good brother, and everybody don't want to change. But even still, that don't mean that having a police encounter should be probably their last encounter, right? It don't mean that the police got the right to do what they want to them, even if they don't necessarily change their ways, even if they are out here on the corner smoking weed, or if they out here on the corner drinking. It don't mean you get to stump on them or get to run their pockets or get to, you know what I'm saying, possibly take their life. That ain't what that means. But I do agree with you. But even still, if they haven't changed, it don't mean they deserve to die or be harmed or robbed by the very people that's supposed to be protecting them. Because the police supposed to protect them too. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's supposed to get this same protection and this same service that we just basically told you that doesn't happen, right? And on one of our last episodes, we was talking about snitching and the people who have the right to contact the police because that's not snitching. You know what I'm saying? The people who pay these taxes, who don't involve themselves in illicit activity, they have that right to contact the police. So they should be expecting a higher quality of service and protection than those of us who live outside the means of what's legal and what's acceptable by normal people, right? But yeah, brother, you know, you everybody ain't gonna change. If everybody did the same thing, we wouldn't have individuality. So yeah, what is Darnell saying? I mean, those brothers being righteous members of the organization community within ourselves, and it's our obligation to assist brothers in times of need, such as the ones being discussed on this platform. So again, this brother, this is our way of assisting by just providing a platform for this conversation to be out in the open, right? This is a conversation that we have in private, you know, when it's 2 or 3 of us in cars or in basements or in rooms, right? But we having this conversation out loud. You talking about someone who has people missing, who's been advocated for the missing for some years. So she's had police encounters, and
they're not good.
About that. Go ahead.
I wouldn't say police. I think the detectives are different than police. Because
they're still police, but yeah,
and they are. But in my mind, police are out there on the streets. Detectives are sitting behind a desk, and that's just my personal opinion. But they haven't been good, none of them. And that is the most common thing I hear with every missing persons advocate and every missing person's family members. We don't have enough communication with them, no matter if it's a active case or not. What I wanted to do is to have a volunteer group that actually acts as a liaison between the police and the family members, because the police, they can't give anything, and it's not their loved one that's missing. It's not. So they're not going to have the same oomph that we would have. But that volunteer person absolutely will. So if they can come together and we can do that, that's really what I'm pushing for here in Indy. I've been to a couple of meetings to see if we can do that. I don't think it's going to happen, but absolutely, you're right.
Why don't you think it's going to happen though?
Because of the insinuation and the conversations that were had.
So that's something that can't be discussed right here on this particular.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm trying. And if anybody out there want to help me in their community, please reach out to me. I think what it is about Indy, they're not up in the top 100 people, 100 thing for people missing. So it's not that important to them.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so it's not an area that has a high incidence of missing.
Right.
Oh,
Right. So I may need to go to different states or different counties that do have that high percentage and work from there. But none of my encounters have been good with detectives at all.
so we basically, when it comes to missing people, we basically on our own. We just gotta
We on our own.
boots to the ground and get our own.
Community involvement.
Yeah.
Community. I mean, we don't even have to deal with the police.
Right.
We really don't, because again, our community is going to find our missing loved ones. So fuck the police, as they say. I hate to say it, but it's real. Like,
we ain't missing no words. It is what it is, right?
yeah.
But we got a lot of officers that hail from our communities, and with that being said, you would think they understand our plight and would be a bit more empathetic to what's going on than what we're seeing, right? But what I've noticed is that even though the officers may be from these communities that we come from, once they get in these uniforms, they've adopted a different code.
Yes.
Right? It's like they saying, fuck the community, right? And we gonna do what we gotta do, and we gonna protect our own, even when we know these cats are bogus. Mm-hmm. Like we gonna fabricate police reports for certain incidents where you know the officer is dead wrong.
Yep.
Well, and then when it comes out, you know, they'll say, well, I wasn't the one who did it. But you fabricated it, so you the same kind of guy. You the worst kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you understand what's going on. You from the people this shit happening to. And then you didn't even put this dude on blast who doing harm in your community. You just supported them.
Yes. So that's like, the code. Gotta be. It's gotta be.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah. So we talking about this gang shit. That's the biggest gang in the country.
Absolutely.
FOP. Mm-hmm. It ain't CVL. It ain't Blood Crip. It ain't Latin King. It's the Fraternal Order of the Police.
Absolutely.
Biggest gang in the country. Right?
Absolutely.
And until one start holding each other accountable, man, they actually want to see improvements in these communities that y'all police. Right? Y'all got to hold each other accountable first. Same way we got to hold each other accountable in our communities. Y'all got to do the same within y'all FOP. The police got to hold each other accountable so that y'all can get rid of these rotten ones, so that they can stop ruining the image of the good ones that's there. Mm-hmm. Same thing with us. We got to teach our people to be a certain way. It starts in our household, to not adopt certain values and principles, or not have principles at all. You know what I'm saying? So that when we go out in these communities, we not destroying them. This is what y'all got to do, so that y'all can fix y'all police precincts, and when y'all come to our communities, y'all not destroying them. Because y'all contributed to the destruction in our communities as well. You know what I'm saying? And y'all contributed to generational dislike and disdain. You know what I'm saying? With these negative police encounters. Mm-hmm. Because that police encounter I had as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old has never left me. You know what I'm saying? Has never left me. I can still feel the gravel in my cheek when I think about it, as my face was on that ground on the corner of 6th and Virginia.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So very negative encounter.
As you're saying that, I'm thinking about how other people perceive us. And when I say us, I mean the Black and brown community. They always think, well, I'm going to put it out there, like Trump talking about all the people that's coming from foreign countries are bad, and they're shooting us and they're killing us and they're doing this and they're doing that. That's the same way we feel. That's the exact same way we feel. If one police officer did that to me, I'm going to feel the same way about the whole police department across the country. So it's the same feeling, back and forth. You're right.
Hey, listen, man, as a people, man, and I'm talking about as humans, man, we got more in common than we don't.
Right.
But we tend to divide ourselves along certain small shit so that we can say we not them and they not us, right? And or not to get involved, you know what I'm saying, in a situation that they may have. So we justify this shit, right? And that's just what we do. It makes us feel like we don't have to burden ourselves with what's going on across those lines, the imaginary lines that we created. This is what we do, as humans, right? You unburden yourself by not giving a fuck about shit that doesn't touch you directly. Mm-hmm. You know, so somebody getting shot, Katrina community. If I'm from one of these suburban areas, man, that's what's going on over there because of X, Y, and Z is happening.
Yep.
But you just assuming that shit happened. You really don't know what's going on over here because you haven't come over here to find out. And on the flip side, it's happening from this end to that end as well. Mm-hmm. Oh shit, well, that's what they get. Now they know what we feeling. And that's a fucked up way of thinking too. You know what I'm saying? You don't want this shit happening to anybody. Right? That's just like the person who doesn't want to be stereotyped or doesn't want to be discriminated against. But you out here stereotyping and discriminating. Mm-hmm. You can't hate the deed and become the doer. You know
Say it again.
You cannot hate the deed and become the doer.
Man,
that is cognitive dissonance.
Absolutely.
You don't want to be discriminated against, but you over here talking about, oh man, that's them Mexicans, or that's them Puerto Ricans, or that's them white people, and now they understand what blacks feel like, or vice versa. Now blacks know what this feel. No, man, that shit don't solve nothing. Mm-hmm. If we talking about bringing solutions to the table, that's not one of them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So we got to find a commonality, and reach across them lines based off commonalities, not based off these divisions that we be finding, because this shit imaginary. You know what I'm saying? We know discrimination exists, but a lot of it's institutional. So once you start seeing certain shit, then you can combat it by challenging it. You ain't always have to just turn your back on it and feel like, well, because I'm not dealing with it, it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. That shit still gonna exist. And just because you got away from it over here, because you didn't challenge it, you're gonna encounter it over here. Mm-hmm. Because all this shit is systemic, and that's a spider web. You know what I'm saying? The system is one big spider web. So it's all interconnected, bro. The discrimination don't happen just in employment. It's happening in police stations. Yeah. It's happening in social services. It's happening in when you start going to hotels, when you start talking about home loans, when you start talking about financial institutions. That shit is systemic, and it's all part of one big capitalist system. Mm-hmm. And I ain't trying to get all political, you know what I'm saying?
But you're right, though.
What's going on? And the police are the vanguard for protecting these things.
Right? Everything is political. Everything is political.
But I don't want to turn people off who, once they hear politics, they get thinking about Republicans and Democrats and all the bullshit that both of them parties are doing. Yeah, we ain't than either one of them.
You're right.
Both been on bullshit for decades. So we ain't on here on that.
All right, let's go to Darnell. Amina's brothers, and I saw this, and I definitely want to respond to it. Amina's brothers being righteous members of an organization or a community within ourselves, and it's our obligation to assist our. I guess some things
he meant brothers and sisters in times of need, such as the ones being discussed on this platform.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because as a sister, as a vice lady, I have reached out to a lot of our brothers to help me and other family members in Gary, Chicago, and things like that, and I'm not getting the help
not getting the responses you want.
And it's not what I want, it's what the community deserves.
Demands.
Yeah. It's what we're supposed to be doing as an organization. It's things that we should be doing as a neighbor, as a community. So I'm just like you called them all out, I'm calling all of them out. When I call you and I ask you, remember the same things y'all keep putting on this platform.
Right.
Period. I need that. I can't be everywhere all the time. I can't. So I need y'all's help. And I'm glad you brought that up, Darnell. Thank you.
So Sis is basically saying, and we only got a few minutes left, but sis is basically saying
we can make this however long it is, unless you got something else to do.
This shit bigger than photo ops and typing something on one of these social media platforms.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Boots to ground. Like what we gonna do out here outside of put some pictures on this motherfucking social media and type a few messages. You know what I'm saying? Making it seem like we out here really active. How we gonna get active out here the way we supposed to be? Yep. You know what I'm saying? Let's put our heads together for that. We ain't got to be on social media to talk about that. We can talk to each other. We talking about not just in this city or that city. We got numbers for states. Right. So let's connect and put this shit together, man. We got the minds, right? We got the networking ability. We can come up with the resources if we unify on a certain topic. I mean, a certain focus. So let's put it together and let's make it happen, man. You know what I'm saying? And this cross boundaries, but we talking about particularly within our community. Yeah. You know, vice lords, GDs. You know, I fuck with all of them. Moles, kings. I fuck with all of them. So let's make it happen. What y'all got going on in the community that y'all need our assistance with, and vice versa. When that time comes, we need that cross boundary assistance. Can we reach out? You know what I'm saying? This is what we talking about. If and we ain't just talking about the police encounters. Now we talking about with anything. But if it's specifically somebody like a police encounter that went bad and y'all trying to demonstrate a thought and y'all need some assistance from us, reach out. And vice versa, man. Let's bridge these divides. Right? We got too many divides. Yeah. We the only community in the country, man, that seem like we can't stand each other.
Right.
What the fuck is going on with that? We can't stand each other.
It don't make sense.
You don't want to see the brother next to you have more or do better than you because it what? You feel like you're gonna feel lesser than? No, man. Help that sister, that brother elevate so that they can help pull you up out that situation, and then you can do it and it becomes a chain. We gotta support each other, man. Once these people know we support each other, specifically the police, that we care about each other, I promise you some change is gonna start happening. Because they gonna know you can't just do it to one of us without having to deal with a bunch of us. Right? You're gonna have to deal with a bunch of us. You can't just fuck with Katrina, or you can't just fuck with Lowe's and one or two people show up, you know, make a complaint here and there. You can bury that shit or appease them with saying you're gonna look into it. Nah, you're gonna have, 60, 70 people coming down here on a daily basis until they get answers. Then you're gonna start having hundreds of phone calls and emails downstate to y'all representatives and senators. It's gonna get the snowballing because that means we unify with a focus. This is how this shit's supposed to be. This is what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? This is what it was back in the day when you had the civil rights era. You know what I'm saying? And the power movement era. Yeah. This is what was going on because the ones knew that we had more in common than not. But I ain't got a whole lot to say. We just talked about it. We looking for y'all feedback and concerns.
Can you address that?
Which one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lisa is a missing persons advocate.
Okay, so I'm gonna read what the comment that Lisa said, and then we'll touch that. I think it's important not to blanket in any profession and look at people as individuals. You can have one bad apple in the barrel, but it doesn't mean all the apples are spoiled. Yeah, we agree. We've been saying that. When we've been talking about our encounters, these are specifically to the police we encountered when we did, and our specific experiences. I've said it before on prior shows, and I'm not talking about all of them. This isn't a blanket statement. It's not that all police are bad, right? It's that they have the appearance of being bad because they seem, not all of them, but what we've seen is a lot of support for the bad shit, even from the so-called good ones, right? So what we're seeing is a system that's been in play for decades, for generations, that has treated our people a certain way continuously, and there hasn't been much change, only the modernization of the system. But the outcome has still been the same. I don't think all police are bad. In fact, I know some police are good because I've encountered one or two brothers and a couple of sisters that are police that have the right mindset and go about it the right way. So I wouldn't sit here and say that every single police is a piece of shit. But the piece of shit police that's out there, we know they exist because we've seen the video, too many videos. We've seen too many justifiable homicides, too many justifiable shootings, too many justifiable beatings. And then you got personal experiences that we deal with that you all don't see and that none of us see because the people are dealing with them individually. So I'm not saying all of them, just like everybody in the community is not bad. It's not a rotten apple. Everybody's not a drug dealer. Everybody's not a killer or robber. Everybody's not out here destroying and harming the community. So we don't want people to discriminate against us that way either. You know what I'm saying? So you right. You make a powerful point, and I just wanted to, acknowledge it based off what the sister put on here.
I have to commend you for that, with you being in prison for so long and you're feeling that way. I've never been to prison, and I'm going to tell you, I blanket it. I feel like all of them are bad. I've met one.
And even that one you have to exclude then.
And that's it. Just that one. All the other ones, fuck them.
But that's your experience, and I can't take that from you.
And that's why I say I have to commend you on and to emphasize that to the audience and to the community that this man has spent 29 years in prison, and he's feeling this way. And I've never done a day in prison, and I feel like it needs to be totally redone. Whole system.
The system is corrupt. Absolutely. But you still have some individuals within, spread out, man, that don't necessarily adhere to what the system demands.
Right? That I've met personally,
and I can't take that from you, and I support the way you feel. I just, I got a different
understanding. I commend you on that. I think that blows me away that you can still have those type of.
But I do acknowledge that the corruption is entrenched. Mm-hmm. It is deep.
Yeah.
And as a result, even those few that are not, are bad or pigs, right? They're not going to be able to make a change.
What are you talking about?
That's what we call rotten police, pigs. What do you mean? You never heard that? You've never heard that?
No, I'm telling you, all of them are pigs.
Yeah, okay. And again, this is what makes us individuals. This is what makes us individuals.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, y'all, man, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. I'm gonna get up out of here, and it's peace and love, and we'll see y'all, next week.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, y'all. Comment,